Boom. Welcome everyone. Maté talk time. Good to be before you all. Hoping everybody is having an awesome week. Just a quick update. I hate when news is presented and they give you some sort of catastrophe, but then they never tell you what happened. So I'm still in the throes of my Thanos evaporating files. It's on its way to Netherlands. I think it's already arrived, and 30 days. I need to wait 30 days to see what's going to happen next. So still in the throes of it. There are mornings that I still wake up and I'm feeling a little bit sort of sick to my stomach, but you have to cross that bridge of it is what it is, and this is what it is. The announcements for today: we finally announced the winner of the Dolce Milano Olfactive Traveler, part of the 5-year birthday for NFC. So that'll be announced today. Thank you for everyone who participated, and I'm going to loop back into that conversation. I will share more about the Olfactive Traveler Discovery Series, the Zaharoff Passport Discovery Series, and also the return of Pelle, Viola, and the Discovery Set. Let me begin. So on the 5th of February, for those who might be new to this conversation of all things Maté talk and NFC, first things first. Okay, so Maté talk, what is it? It is, this is my Maté. It's an Argentinian drink that we have. It's about friends getting together, talking about things that they enjoy, life in general. In this case here, it's all about niche perfumery. It is one continuous roll, so there are no cuts, and the idea is that way you get to see a very real situation. And with mistakes and all. It's if this is not your style, so just know that as a result it does create, I start a sentence and I don't quite finish it, things like that, which drives some people crazy. I respect that. If you prefer more curated and a little bit more sort of carefully edited and a lot different camera angles and things like that, then have a look at the other episodes that I've got on the channel. They're a lot more structured and thematic. They're like a story begins somewhere, it goes to a place, and then it ends. So whereas here it's a little bit of I always call this as a lilo going down a very lazy river. And like in a real conversation where your brain goes in 1,000 different places, I want you to see that occurring. So it becomes a very real moment in time. Now, NFC celebrated 5 years, as I mentioned, on the 5th of February. And it made me very nostalgic, going back in time and thinking, where did all this start? Have a look at this particular episode. This shows you how none of this was by design. Everything was by chance. I have a theme or a thing that I believe in, which is let it flow. And this episode and sort of gives you an idea of how things did really flow when it comes to all things NFC. Where the future goes, I don't know yet, so I'm letting it flow. Anyway, I'll stop there because this morning I'm having a very deep, meaningful conversation with myself going, what is happening? Anyway, so story for another day. As a result, I asked people, and part of the competition, put forward some suggestions of things that have resonated with you through reviews and things that I've sort of highlighted. And it was wonderful visiting or revisiting old friends. It was wonderful to see how these different fragrances resonated with each of you across the world. Things that I really, really admire, and then to hear how they also sort of, not necessarily changed your life, but definitely brought sunshine into your life. I always say that we underappreciate our sense of smell, and when you sort of activate that and realize how beautiful the world is, how beautifully the smells are, it brings color into your life. And so this is and it's nice to see that this is also happening across the world. This is what I love. The last 2 episodes, just to give you a heads up, last 2 episodes I covered off different fragrances. Today I'm going to cover off houses because I realize that I've just run out of time. Today was my last of this sort of presentation, and I just want to put houses on your radar now and go explore. I will show you some fragrances that I've got here, but explore the houses because they're absolutely incredible. The first one that I want to put forward to you is MFK. Now, this is one, so Maison France's Kurkdjian. There's all these different ways of saying it. I'm sure there's a right way to say it, but I don't know what that is. Kurkdjian, anyway. This is one of my early niche fragrance houses that I discovered. I would say that in 2017, I really understood what niche perfumery was and began to deeply explore all these different avenues that didn't know existed. It almost felt like a subculture that was hidden from my sight until I began to observe and see what was happening. One of the very first houses I said as I jumped in was with MFK, and began to discover an incredible collection of fragrances that are just so highly unique and so different. Now, I think the bad part, or he suffers from his own success. I wish I could say the same thing, but the ones that sort of always jump out of the gate is Grand Soir, you most likely heard of that, and also Baccarat Rouge, which just is a global monster bestseller. The reality is the whole house is just, it gets overlooked as a result of those two, these two giants that are blocking the path. One that I fell in love with early on is this one here, which is Gentle Fluidity Silver, and I love the concept behind it, which was, so there's Gentle Fluidity Silver and Gold, and they use the same core notes. When I discovered this, my brain was like, what? Because what Francis has done here is that he's grabbed the same core notes, but ordered them in a different way, that it creates a scent profile that is a little bit more masculine leaning, meaning that it's aromatic and woody and fresh and vibrant, which is silver. Having said that, though, Sandra, my wife, loves wearing this too, so there's no reason why a woman can't wear this. And then the other one, Gold, now accentuates the more vanilla and amber. Same notes, just constructed differently. And for me, this was such an exciting way to understand the art of the perfumer and the skill that it takes to, you think that, if you grab all the same ingredients, you would always make a cake, for instance. Whereas here, one's a cake and the other one is, I don't know, something else more decadent. So MFK, someone put, there was a comment that came through recently saying things like Masculine Puriel is absolutely incredible. I was wearing it the other day, such a glorious fragrance. Aqua Vite Forte, for those who haven't come across that, please, that's an incredible one. Everyone bangs on about Grand Soir, but there is Petit Matin, its companion, which is one is for the day and one is for the night. And the two of them are meant to sort of layer together and another just incredible fragrance that nobody talks about. So first house I want to put to on your radar is Maison France's Kurkdjian, and check them out. Now, the other one that I absolutely adore, a lot of people have been also commenting on this, is anything to do with BDK. This is another one that I fell in love with very early, French house. I love the different aspects of it, the lid, which is to represent the Grand Palais, and also the roofs of Paris had this very sort of round, very curved top. This one here, so the very first one that I fell in love with and bought for Sandra, my wife, was Pas Ce Soir. I just thought it's just glorious. Ladies, if you don't have this, you need it. I bought Extrait for her thinking that, this was a nice extension to the Pas Ce Soir. She'd never liked it. Long story, watch this episode. But I came to it and discovered that this is glorious for a man to wear. There's also Gris Chanel and Gris Chanel Extrait. All those are just everything. I mean, there is a vast collection in the office of all things BDK. If you haven't experienced the Pas Ce Soir Extrait, I'd recommend it to you. This is one that is absolutely divine. Have a look at this episode if you're wanting to see a buying guide between the OGs and its Extrait companion. Then this is a great episode that you can sort of explore that a little bit further. I'm moving through quickly today, as you can see. The next one is a house that I discovered very early in the piece of my NFC channel and journey, and one that I just was absolutely overwhelmed at the quality, the level of creativity behind it. And then this is something that I had only just discovered, was the exploration of that single note. The perfumer Jean-Luc Perris, who owns the brand Perris Monte Carlo, was searching the world, and in his own words, he mentioned that he was searching the world for unique ingredients, and then the ability to celebrate those ingredients. He came across an island called Nosy Bay. It is close to Madagascar, and discovered that there were two things there that were just like out of this world. One was the ylang ylang, which is a very dense, exotic yellow floral, very rich and opulent. And the other one was patchouli, and both are from Nosy Be. Now, the one that I want to put forward to you guys is ylang ylang Nosy Be. Ylang ylang famously is used in Chanel No. 5. And it's always been, I guess, been sort of deemed as a bit of a scent profile for a woman. Here, this is the EDP. This a man can wear. And it was so wonderful to see a few men write to me in the last couple of weeks saying that they tested ylang ylang Nosy Be, and it actually worked for them really well. There is an extrait version of this. That one I can't wear. That is very highly sensual. There's a not a tuberose, it's a magnolia note that's on that opening, and it's a lot more decadent, a lot more sensual, a lot more feminine. So that one I can't wear, but this one, yes, it has a beautiful chocolate, dense floral vibe to it, and I would recommend it to you. Now, if you like extraits and you like the more complex nature of an extrait, a lot of the lines, a lot of the EDPs did come out with an extrait version, and I think they're continuing to roll them out. This is Vanille de Tahiti, and this is like, I mean, you don't need a lot, and this has been Cassandra's not a huge vanilla. This is very decadent vanilla, and I've been hitting this fragrance hard. I was at one stage literally obsessed. I mean, I normally don't wear the same fragrance one day after the other, whereas here I was almost wearing it for a whole week. I could not get enough of this. It's a very floral, very juicy and dense, realistic vanilla, as opposed to a gourmand and sweet and sugary. Here it lends very much into it. So if you grab a real vanilla pod and smell that, and there's many different facets to that vanilla pod, I find that this really emulates it really well. It's just gorgeous. For a man to wear, no problems at all. Anything to do with Perris Monte Carlo, I strongly recommend. It's a huge brand. Here's a number of episodes that I've created, and one that I love talking about. I'm going to stop because we're going to get this rolling for editing. See you in a sec. And back. All right. So the next ones that I want to put forward to you, and again, these are all recommendations you gave me, which I originally gave you, and now I'm putting back out to everybody else. These are absolute showstoppers. They have been for me, and I'm glad that it's been the same for you guys. The next house that I want to highlight is Matiere Premiere, and in particular, Encens Suave. Ricardo mentioned this. A Chilean man living in Poland mentioned that he first came across the channel via this particular fragrance. For starters, the whole Matiere Premiere range is exceptional. I've got them all lined up like little soldiers over here. Strongly recommend them. Each one is different, diverse, really super expressive. I came into it through Radical Rose. The story behind Radical Rose is that the perfumer Aurélien Guichard has his own rose farm in Grasse, which he curates, low yield in that he doesn't blend with other rose oils from the region or anywhere else. Once that harvest is done and that it's sold out, and sort of, so I mean, supposedly it's a very big farm, so he's got to like really work hard to sell out a harvest. But what I loved about it is this, this love and respect for nature, and then that love and respect is transferred across into something that we can enjoy. Now, this one here is Encens Suave, and one that I strongly recommend. Now, for people who even are not that comfortable with an incense note, the incense actually comes from Somalia, I would recommend this to you. This is a great place to begin a journey. It is robust, so just be aware that the incense note is present. However, it's not that ecclesiastical sort of expression. And sometimes we find that it's super smoky and makes you think of a church. Here, there is a freshness. There is more of a lightness to it. There is like an opening, a coffee note. And I think the coffee and the aromatic nature of it, yet that woody base, that deeper note scent profile that coffee has, plays really well. There are peppery notes. It's not just, as I said, it doesn't make you think, for me at least, it does not make me think of a church or like you're walking into somewhere where they're burning incense. It's a lot lighter. It isn't It is an incense expression, but a beautiful way to come alive. Now I did, that fragrance to come alive. I mentioned about Radical Rose. So this is the EDP, the Eau de Parfum version of it. There is an extract version. Now I'm gonna quantify this. I'm not a huge fan, it's sort of intellectually, of releases for the extract. I've got my reasons, I won't share them. So I always walk into something with an extract with a slight sense of, I guess cynicism is probably the best word. So let me just quantify again. BDK, when the OGs and the extracts, the fact that I've got all three extracts says something, okay? So just give you an idea. I don't want to go too, because it's just my own thought process. So when Matiere Premiere came out with their extracts, I came at it very slowly. Having said that though, the one that I do have is Radical Rose extract. I haven't crossed over on the others. We'll see what happens over time, but for now, Radical Rose extract is a clear difference from the original. And I think maybe that's my key point, and I'll share that part. That I don't necessarily need the same fragrance now expanded in with bigger bones. I want something unique and different. And actually going back to Perris Monte Carlo, this is exactly what they do. So I came at it very cynically, I guess, when they started to release the extracts. But then when the first spray, I'm like, whoa, these are separate expressions. And as I mentioned before, Ylang Ylang Nosy Bay, the parfum, I can wear it, no problem at all. The extract version of it, no way. I cannot touch that fragrance. And even to the point where I'm like, it's just my imagination. Like, shush. I spray. It just feels wrong on me. It's too feminine. It's too, it's just dripping with sexuality from a feminine point of view, not so much for a guy. So this is why my whole thing with parfums and extracts and things like that. So the one that I have crossed over with when it comes to Maté Premiere, if you haven't experienced Radical Rose, I would recommend this one. The EDP is a lot more, I guess, lighter and fruitier and sort of a little bit more sunshine, whereas the EDP is deeper and not resinous, but deeper and a lot more sensual, but not feminine. A man can easily wear this. There's a lot more depth to it. The rose is almost a little bit more hidden. There's more amber around this rose as opposed to the EDP where the rose shines really brightly. I mean, you can usually, if you see that sort of sun flare that you get sometimes on cameras, well, that's what I get from the EDP, whereas here it's a dark sort of, the light's going down, it's becoming dusk, and it's a lot darker with that rose present. As Matiere Premieres, strongly recommend. They're awesome range. All right, next one is all things Ormonde Jayne. A lot of people over the last 2-3 weeks have put forward that Ormonde Man was the one that I actually highlighted. It makes me equal part happy and sad because I did create these discovery episodes. I did create further episodes on Levant and Chi Intensivo and stuff like this. So there's other, yes, Ormonde Man is a great place to begin. This is where I began my journey when it comes to Ormonde Jayne. But there's other great episodes here. I'll go one more. I have done a discovery series. If you use the code NFC10, you can get yourself a tasting menu that has 12 different fragrances, and then follow me in here. Continue to use that code NFC10 for a 10% discount. So anyway, Ormonde Man, yes, totally agree, but bada boom, the collection that Ormonde Jayne have is exceptional. Now this is English perfumery, unlike the Radical Rose, where right now it's really like present and popping. English perfumery tends to be a little bit more on the reserve side. So it doesn't want to be like an Arabic fragrance where it really pushes itself out and make sure that it's known. It's a little bit more on that suave, gentleman, sophisticated, elegant, not imposing on others. It has that same profile. I say gentlemen, but ladies also. So they are great for if you're going to, I don't know, a serious meeting, or if you're doing something that's a little bit more, not so, I keep thinking like James Bond or even like Audrey Hepburn. I don't know why Audrey Hepburn came. Oh, that's right, Breakfast at Tiffany's. I saw something recently. And yeah, that's sort of very sort of sophisticated and just charming looking, and these fragrances then support that. The Ormonde Jayne fragrances support that statement. The whole range is amazing. Check out the episodes and you'll discover more. Boom. Now, one, I mentioned last week that whenever I speak of Foyer, I get a bit of heat, like, people are like, oh no, it's not a great brand. I'm glad that actually a number of people did jump in going, what are they talking about? And I agree. What are they talking about? Because Foyer is incredible when it comes to its collection, the fragrances, how they perform, the actual scent profiles that they have. The other one that gets a lot of heat whenever I show it, and I've actually even to the point where I've kept quiet because there is some tension around this brand, and I don't know why. I don't know what's happened out in the world. But I like Floraiku. I actually think they do an awesome job. They were part of the France fragrance tour in 2024. We actually had an awesome experience in the boutique. We even had the gentleman who writes the different haikus for the fragrance there present. He's the one that did it for Sand and Skin. And he shared how, his creative process on how he creates these haikus. I think the reason, from what I've discerned and reading, that gets a lot of heat is that the pricing is a little bit higher than some others. And I'm going to bring a brand that the pricing is extraordinarily amazing, whereas these guys, yeah, they're a little bit more expensive. However, there's a lot of features with the brand, other than the fragrance being exceptional, that are quite impressive. One is the top of the lid, which then converts into a travel thing. The whole packaging comes with a travel. It's a bento box, that's what they call it, a fragrance bento box. Comes with a traveler, you can now move around with this. It comes with a lid, so this looks beautiful on your shelf. But when you're not traveling, you can put that on. I like it. I mean, I'm a sucker for good packaging, and I like this one here. Now, I had, a recommendation that this was the showstopper for them. This is And Your Lips. I did do an episode on this, so I did a dual. I called it Statement Makers, and there was a lot of sharp knives coming at me saying that it was actually, don't worry, choose to read it. This and another one called Between Two Trees, boom, and both are incredible fragrances. One is a very masculine leaning one, which is one that I love wearing, and this one here, And Your Lips, is a very feminine leaning fragrance. This is Sandra's fragrance, and before I started, in smelling its scent profile, I picture my wife. This is a really dressed up fragrance. I can see, how, we're going out and how she's dressed and everything else. It's a very romantic fragrance. It's a very, unlike I mentioned last week, Narcotic V, dripping with sexuality, whereas this is not that it's dripping with innocence, but there is an innocence to it. There is a softness, like a peaceful sensuality. So there's nothing here overtly sexual. It's just really, it's just a beautiful scent. I mean, it's a really, really gorgeous fragrance. One that I love smelling, and one that I'd recommend to you, the whole house Floraiku. Tell me, would you like to know more about Florida? I've got a lot of fragrances. I'm a sucker for this brand. And I've spent quite a bit of cash behind them. So if you want to know more, let me know. I will do more. But as I said, when I've put them forward, knives are out. Okay, I'm going to stop one more time, and I'm going to do the last house. And back. The last one that I want to put forward to you as an entire house and the collection that they have, which is also very exceptional, diverse, something for everybody. And then there is the price point. I really feel that these guys have done an awesome job with quality and presentation and all the fun ththings that make the brand. But then they've provided the consumer with a chance to come in from so many different angles. You can get a 100 ml bottle, 50 ml bottle, and I believe that it's a 25 is the smaller size. This is what they all look like. So Une Nuit Nomade is one of those brands that this is years ago, I really fell in love, and I fell in love with the gateway one, which is Sugar Leather. I discovered this in the Javoy boutique a few years back now, and just the scent profile, I'm like, whoa! At that stage, I hadn't experienced anything quite quite like it, which is this beautiful cinnamon, woody, touch of fruit, but then this leather accord that comes through. Never goes into anything deep and animalic and over the top. I did do this episode here if you want to know more about all things sugar leather. Then I was impressed with all their packaging and all the different aspects. There's the Discovery series that they have, sorry, the Discovery set that they have, which is so well thought through, all the way that the packaging, and it's just, it's a very clever brand in the way that they execute and bring to market and make it fun for us as a perfume lover. I did do the Discovery series on this. This was probably one of my first ones that was a huge hit. It was very well received. And again, I do believe it's because they have all these different entry levels when it comes to the big bottle or a mid-sized bottle or even a small. You can expand your collection without going too crazy. I also feel like their price points are very fair. If you want to check them out, you can also use the code BOP, it's this one here. That'll also give you 10% discount plus free delivery across the world. So they are exceptional. Philippe, the owner, he's a very generous, he's a very giving sort of guy, very gregarious, full of energy. The whole house is, yeah, anyway, well worth it. So if you want to explore more, you can get that Discovery set and find out what the brand is about, and then you can follow me. Now, I will be doing, so they've released extracts. I love what they've, and this is what my hat up, this is the part where I do love, where they have released an extract collection, but they're now new expressions. There's only one that's repeat, but even that is a separate fragrance, okay? So Jardin de Misfa, another big hit when it comes to the EDP version. I always say that it's a rose that's hiding in plain sight. You don't even realize that there's roses there until you go, oh, guess what, there's a rose. So they released Jardin de Misfa, but also as an extrait. Interestingly, and I had this question asked to me recently, between the two, EDP and the extrait, I prefer the EDP. The extrait goes in a whole new direction. It's something, I would almost classify it as a separate fragrance. You know, it doesn't have the similarities that you would find between one and the other. So a similar approach to what Perris Monte Carlo has done. If you're new to the extracts, Estrella de la Mañana is one that I would strongly recommend to you. Mind you, they have another one called Silver Saffron. That is just, if you love saffron, that leathery note, Silver Saffron is gorgeous. But I really love this for its unique take. In speaking with Philippe, he did mention that they took a gamble on this particular fragrance because it really fell outside of the scope of their brand. Their brand is very accessible. So if you're a perfume lover, if you've come in from designers, you can actually appreciate the work that they do. Whereas here, it is highly niche and it is highly expressive and artistic. It's a blend of that cacao, but with vanilla, and there's a few animalic notes in there. It's very deep. It's gorgeous. It actually won an award. So they took a gamble on this particular fragrance because they thought it falls outside of, I guess, our house's DNA. But they were so enamored with the fragrance and felt that this was something unique that they wanted to bring to market, and it was a huge hit. So if you are new to Une Nuit Nomade, sugar leather is where I think you should start. Really beautiful and accessible. Yes, it has a leather note, but it's not over the top. And then if you're a lot deeper into all things niche perfumery, then Estrella de la Mañana is one that is bada boom, pure magic. Bada bing. And there is, and actually again, you can use that code and get yourself that 10% free delivery, etc., etc. Thank you. You guys I really so deeply appreciate the amount of comments that have come through. It did warm the cockles of my heart, it warmed the insides, to see how these different houses resonated, the fragrances that resonated. These are fragrances that as I mentioned, really adore and love wearing. And it's always nice when you make a recommendation and people go, oh yeah, that really worked for these reasons. And I loved hearing how these particular fragrances work for you guys. The one that I didn't put forward here was Orto Parisi. I've been still getting a lot of messages that Orto Parisi and Nasomato were two fragrance lines that I was able to put on your radar. So I'm grateful to be the guy that did that. Next week, I'm actually going to show you, because there's I really do wish I could clone myself, because I want to push out more content, but it's just, you know, it's just life and everything around it, and then hard drives failing, and I don't want to talk about that. It's like I've got this gray cloud over me, but anyway. There's so many beautiful houses that, like, I'm glad that I was able to be the guy that put forward these ones, or these houses. I want to be the guy for these other ones. I've discovered some beautiful things, and I really want to put that out to you guys. And so I may not get as many hits, but at the end of the day, these are really exciting brands that are doing things really, really well, and I want to share that more deeply with you guys. So next week, I'll show you what those brands are and to look out for as I roll throughout the year. All right, announcements. At the end of this, I'm going to do the spin the wheel, and someone's going to win the Dolce Milano. But in the meantime, let me talk about the upcoming Zaharoff Passport and Discovery series that will happen. So if you're interested in Zaharoff, or you want to discover more about what these fragrances are about, the work that George Zaharoff does, then you can jump on his website. You'll see that there is a tab there where you can order the NFC Zaharoff Passport. It's this particular item here. It is a collaboration between myself and George. The 5 fragrances in here are ones that I selected personally from his collection. These are ones that not only resonate with me, but it gives you a good understanding of the work that he is doing. There are 2 rose fragrances. They are designed for men, but easily a woman can wear. There is a beautiful jasmine fragrance, which is underrated. I think the best in the market. All right, give you a heads up. So Bloom, when it comes to a beautiful fragrance, beautiful jasmine fragrance, is beautiful on a man and amazing on a woman. Then there is the Extreme with Oud, which is the signature Perron. And then finally, Arum, which is the best, absolutely best, honey-centric fragrance. I know that there is, and B gets a lot of sort of love. It doesn't compare. Arum is 4,000 times, personally, 4,000 times better, and a really, really great fragrance. So if you want to follow me in real time, well, not in real time, but, you know, over that, when the episode pops, and I do talk to camera and try to make it as engaging, you know, between the two of us as possible. That episode is going to come out on the 22nd of March, so it gives you plenty of time you can order your passport and be ready for us to talk in more detail. The other one that I'm super excited to bring to life, and this one here is going to be a 3-hour-long episode. It won't, but there's so many things I want to share, and that's obviously on my own brand, which is Olfactive Traveler. It is connected to the KM Fragrance Tours, and it was birthed last year for the Italian tour that we did. The perfumer is Luca Maffei, and just excited about bringing this particular production to life. I will be talking about the 3 fragrances in this collection here, which celebrate Florence, Rome, and also Milan. And that episode will go out on the 29th of March. I did say last week 15th. I just realized it's not going to give everybody enough time. If you do want to order it, I would like this to be in your company as we go through that together. So I have pushed it back. So 29th of March is when the episode will go live. If you would like to order your own Discovery set, that will go live next week, and this is what leads me into the next conversation. But this actual Traveler is leather bound, hand stitched. It's quite a beautiful item that we've prepared for you guys to enjoy and understand what the brand is. Last part to this conversation, the second last part, because the last part is the giveaway, is the return of both Pelle Viola and also the OT Traveler set. That's going to happen on the 5th of March. Now, for those who would like to put their names against that wait list, all you got to do is just jump on our OT, the Olfactive Traveler website. You'll see, join the newsletter. Another email's going out this week. So we just so you know, we do 1 email a week. All right. So we're not gonna spam you guys. But basically, that will explain even further the creative decisions that we did with Luca Maffei. It's an awesome email that was constructed by Michelle. And she's doing an awesome job with that, and that'll give you a better understanding. But more importantly, it will allow you to click on that wait list button, and that way you can put your name against the Traveler or Pelle Viola, which we now, whatever stock we have now is the stock that we have. So just to give you a heads up that once that that stock is gone, then the 2025 harvest is finished. Boom. That's it. All right. And now this. Back. All right. It was an awesome response. I mean, when we first started, there was a couple of people on. Have a look at it now. It's fairly extensive. There were a number of people who actually went all in and did 3 different approaches, and therefore the wedge is larger. That's so just in case you're like, how come somebody, you know, the wedge looks bigger? And that's because of that. And let me begin. Now I've got a long spin on this. I really wanted to drag this out. I'm grateful for everybody's engagement. I'm grateful for everybody jumping in on this promo. And this is for the full bottle of Dolce Milano, which is connected to the birth of NFC and Olfactive Traveler. And I'll be quiet now. Good luck. Very long spin. I love that it was, I'm like, oh, it's gonna land on Sam. No, it's gonna land on Debbie. I know who this is. Debbie Straka, I think is the surname. Debbie, congratulations. Bada boom, you have won the Dolce Milano. All you need to do is reach out to me and I will, let me just stop this. Boop. I will send that out to you. So congrats, Debbie. I'm so happy. And actually, Debbie, just to give you a bit of background, because all the people that were in this wheel, I knew the background on. Debbie has been a strong supporter from the very beginning. I have done so many different ideas, and one of them was a live presentation in the Oligarch store with Kevin. And in this case here, we did a live session with George Zaharoff when he first came to Australia back 3 or 4 years ago. People bought a ticket to be in this live. We streamed it out. It was such a technological nightmare because we had like multiple cameras and all these different things. And but in the end, it was a great success. It was a lot of fun to bring to life. And I remember Debbie was part of that. So thank you, Debbie, for your support all the way back then. Thanks everyone. I hope you enjoyed that Monte talk. Next week, as I said, I'm going to bring fragrance lines that I'm going to highlight moving forward for this year. Keep me to my task, you know, keep. I've had a few people say, well, you need to talk more about this, more about that. Yes, I totally agree. I'll talk to the cologne and see if he can start doing some of that stuff too. But I do want to bring a number of new brands that there's not enough noise around them, and I want to be that guy. Boom. Thank you. See you guys all on the next Maté Talk. Bye everyone.